For this session, Jordan started putting some information that we have on what happened on our website and various social networks recently, mostly since we've had a lot of improvements and a lot more subscribers in the last week or so, since we actually started making a lot of blog posts and stuff as well. So yeah, currently I don't think I have about 42 followers, Twitter 141, and Facebook quite a lot. Actually. Okay. That's the agenda. So remember that was it. Okay. So yeah, I guess everyone noticed that we kind of redesigned the website a few months ago, like 2 months or so. We're actually still working on it. There's still work that needs to be done on some pages. Like the most recent one we worked on last week, I guess. It's not quite featured yet on the website, but it's marketplace. So we right here, the Ubuntu marketplace, showing a few companies offering Ubuntu hardware and Ubuntu services. That's something we analyzed for quite a while, and we hope to have even more companies on there quite soon. Other than that, yeah, we actually, well, the rest of the website is supposed to be quite up to date. Front pages like mostly blog posts and stuff. We have the Identica widget to show activity directly from Identica.
Are you getting from Twitter in there also?
I don't think so, because this one technically is the Identica widget you can get on our website.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe it would be nice to have something that actually pulls from various networks.
There's a JavaScript library called Twidinash on Launchpad.
Okay.
It was made for one of Jono's blogs, and I've recently taken over maintainership of it because it's used on the logo directory. And it'll pull based on a hashtag from Twitter and Identica.
That's to post notices on anywhere.
Yeah, on the website.
What's the name?
TWIDENASH.
The what?
EN.
And
ASH. And again, that's on Launchpad now.
okay. Supports Identica, I guess. Twitter.
Hey. I just heard this morning. Your house caught on fire last night. Yeah. The kids were at their grandparents' house. Said everyone was all right. Supposedly, Pete and Amber are still here today, but I have no idea what their plans are. So, do you have a phone number or something for her? I want to call her and see what she's doing. Talk to you later. Bye. Sorry about that.
Alright, so we think this one will be quite nice. So you said it supports Identica, Twitter.
Identica and Twitter and status.net, but nobody really uses that.
Yeah, we do it in the company, but yeah, it's not exactly public, so. Okay. I guess something that, yeah, well, should have added a trick, because we have quite a lot of people talking about Ubuntu on Twitter, so
Yeah,
you can get it on the website.
it's not really fancy, and you have to provide your own CSS to style it.
Right.
But it does the job.
Yeah, it might even be faster than what you currently have.
It's just launchpad.net/Twidinash. And if anybody wants to help hack on it, then I would be more than happy to get contributions.
Can that support other things like delicious or?
Probably, yeah.
Because links are interesting to include there
ASH.
if they're done properly.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, links are interesting to include there.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that you can actually link or get RSS feeds directly for very specific combinations of tags. So it doesn't have to be the wider Edubuntu tag, but it could be something like Edubuntu plus web. Something like
Yeah. Could probably look at adding that on there right now. It just takes a single tag.
Cool. So yeah, that will be a nice improvement for the website, especially because the Identica, which we have currently, is also quite slow to load. It's actually what's making page a bit slow to load.
API?
Hmm?
API?
I don't think so. It's really the JavaScript thing that connects Analytica.
Oh, okay. No, but that goes through their web, so
Yeah.
that's slow. But the API
Yeah.
should
Now
be.
this
API should be fast.
this connects after the page loads.
Okay. Yeah, so it should make it faster.
Oh, the link that's here. Morning.
Morning, Dinda.
Hey. Oh, we have two Dindas.
Right, and the JavaScript thing and then connects to Identica. Alright. Okay, rest of the website. Currently what we have is like basic about page. Should we use the non-admin version of the website? Which I'm supposed to have somewhere. So basic about page, I guess it does the trick currently, but yeah, we can always improve that. The community page as well. Something I guess we don't, because I don't remember it on the website is like how to get involved. That's currently still in the wiki, and that's something we probably should focus a bit more on if we want more contributors.
That's something that's across the board on Ubuntu. They're working on how to get people involved. There's been like 3 sessions already on how to get developer involvement.
So are you seeking for more developers, more testers, more
Yeah.
users, or just getting the schools
Yes.
that actually use it to
Getting all of these would be nice.
a bit
Because
of
currently we are basically 2 doing everything. So we do like the website, we do like the communication, blog post, whatever, testing, packaging, working on seeds, kind of stuff. So, and so people are like, they would like to see Moodle or school tool or whatever packaging working in a distro. But quite honestly, with just people working on it, we're not going to do it. So we need more contributors.
So do you think it's because they don't know about it, or it's not important that they would?
I would guess they don't really know about it. Because the thing is that most of our users are not going to get involved in actually doing packaging and stuff. Because, contrary to Ubuntu, our users really don't have much technical knowledge.
So Jonathan's talking about having teachers.
What do you think? Jonathan, what did you add it? I mean, it was already on the note.
It's an action item. It's a different thing, I guess.
Right.
And his is better.
Yeah.
Because it's green.
Yeah.
No, he was asking why.
Yeah.
Getting teachers involved. So actually, I know that teachers are pretty keen on sharing what they do.
Yeah,
online.
yeah. So
So maybe it's just a matter of connecting
Right.
them, or just finding them and aggregating what they publish, or
There's
is
lots
it?
of examples of good practice out there
There
of
are.
what teachers are doing, but I don't know if there's a lot of what they're using.
right.
Yeah.
I think that
So
can be
I'm
the difference.
guessing that's something we also discussed and we want to get online is like the user stories and having examples of deployments and stuff.
So
So
it-
the website. So for this, I'm guessing we're going to get quite a lot of feedback from teachers and users.
So we need someone to coordinate, because you wouldn't like to have a queue of people just that you have to go through every time, but
Mhm.
actually welcoming them. So yesterday I was in a session for server community, and Matt Zimmerman was explaining how there's like 3 steps to get people involved, or that's one way to view it. But so first, getting the information on the site very clearly. That's what we have. I think you mentioned that we needed to update that. Can you bring back the webpage, the community webpage? So they're working so that people, for example, one thing that jumps at my face right now is the IRC channel. If I was a teacher and I'm not too technical, as you said, I just want to click somewhere. So that's a very small change. Yeah, but you don't get to that part. You don't get to that link.
In the local directory, we embed the web chat client
Yeah.
in the page itself.
So do we
Right.
want to just link
In
to
our
the
case,
local-
it's just separate. So
Yeah,
separate-
but maybe on the previous page instead of having to find the link for
Right,
it.
so those are small changes that we can do pretty fast, and that can improve a lot the communication.
There's a post there, English Linux, and contact schools who want to share stories. They've got stories, schools, videos on the website if they can get them on.
Right, so to get that, we need anyone that lands here by mistake or because they're looking for us, because those are the ones that want to do stuff, right? So we need to get those first involved, which would then give example or show others that it's not that hard to participate. And then that's more of a survey. When we have 1 or 2 people like that, then we can tell them, where can we find the people that are reporting back? If we already have some stories, that's great. But then we can start coordinating that and bringing them here. Because it's much easier to tell someone, you know what, don't bother about the details, just go through web chat. We're sitting there, we'll tell you where to report things. And personally, what has worked for me so it's not the same thing, it's not a project, but in multi-touch and in the Ubuntu Quebec local team, what's worked for me is telling people just that single thing. Come to the web chat, I'll tell you how to do it. Do you have an Identica account? What is it? Let me add it to the links. Boom, you're on the front page. That's immediate reward for sharing your information. And then following up very tightly. And with the Ubuntu Colombian team, I was able to step away, and it's being so everyone that I got involved initially are pretty much still there, and they're doing the same thing that I did because it's easy. They don't need to actively advocate and follow up and spend a lot of time. They just tell someone, you know what, go to the web chat channel, someone will take care of you. And they pick it up from there.
Right.
So those are very quick changes that we can do there. What's going on the IRC channel? So stories, photos, videos. Yeah, photos are especially
Also, already a contact form right on that page instead of an email link.
Right.
Just something where they see, the way to contact them.
Do we not have that
Right
in,
there.
in the local directory?
Hmm?
Do we not have that in the local directory?
What?
The contact form that is easy to just
The,
link to?
the local directory is on local teams right now. So Edubuntu is not on there. That's something that I'm hoping to expand on. We have
Yeah.
a session tomorrow, I think, later today or tomorrow. On
And do we have, is it interesting to get involved locals because they are, is there a particular local
Yes.
that is more Ubuntu focused or?
No, but I think every loco would be a good place to have advocacy for it.
Because technically, there's nothing that stops us from starting a local team for Ubuntu. I remember way back that local teams were not supposed to be only geographic. You could have a local team that would be thematic or project based.
We're
But
moving away from that
yeah,
and more towards strictly geographic.
And so, as I understand is saying, some local actually translated the Ubuntu website completely, and we have some.
Yeah, locals are great for
Yeah.
getting translations.
Yep. So we actually have some locals, I'm trying to remember exactly which countries, who are quite for external education.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that the local council is trying to do, Laura Jakowski is trying to put together, is to get developers from development projects to give presentations to local teams during their regular meetings. So that would be a good opportunity for one of us to go to a local team that wants to learn more about Edubuntu, tell them about it and how they can introduce it into their geographic area and the schools in their area. So they're calling it front desk right now, the local front desk or community front desk or something.
sorry, it's Michael All, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So
Oh, sorry. Yes, M Hall 119.
Sorry, going back to the contact form, something that we use in the multi-touch project is just linking to answers. Just because the way it acts is, you click, you're on a web form, and that's sent to everyone that's subscribed to a mailing list, and a reply comes back really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Is that too complicated, or?
Except that answers you require multiple login.
Yeah, well.
So no.
But he's going to have it sent to the.
But we have
yeah.
contact at edubuntu.org. That's a mailing list.
Okay, but for those that are already in Launchpad, I mean, if you're aiming at anyone that is really not part of the community, you're missing out on the low-hanging fruit, which is people that already have accounts, already know how we work, etc.
Well, these will probably send an email to Ubuntu users.
Sir,
These will probably send an email to Ubuntu users.
is that what we want?
Yeah.
We don't. Yes.
Probably.
This
So
would
feedback-
People already in Launchpad will probably use the Launchpad communication channels. So either sending it to the Launchpad mailing list or one of the other.
Right, but right now it's not on that community page. There's not a single link that says, click here for questions about Ubuntu. That's it.
Oh, you're saying you think we should have a link up there to the Launchpad answers?
You know how we have we used to have a huge download link on Ubuntu.com.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should have something that says, contact us, or because I see at least 20 links here. If you're, if I have questions or if I want to get involved, I should see that link like in my face. Mailing list is there, but that implies that you know about it, that you want to register, that this and that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're talking about is a quicker contact form, right?
Specifically for teachers and non-community people that don't feel comfortable with IRC and mailing lists, is why I wanted the contact form.
Yeah, okay. There's no way around that.
I'm just not sure that that specific target audience is going to or want an Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, if we say, hey, you can contact us, just go to this unrelated page and sign up with a new user account.
right,
Mhm.
and Launchpad answers we've seen better than that.
What about Ask Ubuntu also? So there's
Ubuntu is already a bit more user friendly than Launchpad answers.
there's
Well,
if you want anonymous, because that's what it is, anonymous questions.
Mm-hmm.
So without login. I think Chopin does it, and it's pretty similar to Ask Ubuntu, but yeah. So that requires some more thinking.
I guess, currently having web form sends to contact at edubuntu.org is probably going to do the trick because technically they won't need any kind of account or anything.
Yeah.
And if we see that we get tons of these and that we need extra help to install all of these, then we can think of a more scalable solution, I guess.
Yeah, and we can always, once we've got the email communication going, we can walk them through registering with Launchpad or something if they need to.
Right.
Are you talking about developers or teachers here?
Teachers.
I don't think teachers are going to go to your Launchpad. I really don't.
If for some reason they need to, or if, say we get a teacher that's interested in contributing because they do have some programming background. Once we get that initial communication established, then it would be easier to get them on Launchpad than to just shove them to Launchpad at the very beginning.
I'm thinking of two types of people here. I'm thinking of your IT teachers, your IT admins, who would probably do that, because they may have deployed Ubuntu, they may have got an LSD server running. They will be looking for support, they will be looking for help, they would probably want to get involved in the community. That's, I think, the kind of people who would probably want to get involved in Launchpad. But I'm thinking, coming from a teacher point of view, that I don't think a general classroom teacher wants to get involved in that.
No, absolutely.
They want maybe to find out about Ubuntu as in like through Facebook, Twitter.
Right.
They don't want another account.
Right. And the contact form is specifically for them.
Yeah. Another question is, like, let's say an admin has a Launchpad account, like me, but I'm not a contributor at the moment. How am I, like, personally, me getting captured to become a contributor? I'm thinking that as well. You know, I've only come into this project from deploying it and becoming interested in it and signing up for things to get support. I'm now at the stage where I would like to contribute something back. Again, you know, how would we capture those kind of people, those kind of users?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah. See, there's a point on a lot of schools also have sysadmins now. I think that's the type of person we're going for really at the moment.
Right.
They're the people who are promoting. Classroom teacher doesn't know what's in front of them.
It really depends. I mean,
Sysadmins, yeah.
currently we have, like, usually what happens is that schools, where they don't have an actual sysadmin team or whatever, tend to install Ubuntu like themselves, as the teachers actually doing it. And for larger school districts, where they actually have a technology team or something like that, they tend to install Ubuntu and just install what they need on top of it.
So they don't know about it. They find Ubuntu first.
No, they usually they know that the Ubuntu exists. They just don't want to install everything. So they just install Ubuntu and install the 2 or 3 packages actually used.
So are you saying that Ubuntu seems too big for them or too?
Well, I'll say that way. I'm working with school districts in education, and we never install Ubuntu.
Right.
We deploy Ubuntu and we deploy what's been the few software they actually need. So when you actually have a technology team, an IT department or something, you tend to just create either a ghost image or whatever that just contains what you need. So, I mean,
right, but
that's always the question is
we're trying
what
to
you
change the
call
perception that Ubuntu is too big. Is that what you're saying?
We are going, with the changes in the installer, that's going to help for sure. We plan to let people choose exactly what they want.
Are we going to try and provide some kind of CD image with a reduced set of packages?
Probably not at this point.
Okay.
Because I mean
It's hard.
it would be smaller, but it would still not fit on CD anyway. Because just adding one of our package on the Ubuntu CD couldn't fit.
Yeah, you'd have to remove several
I'm
things.
looking to remove OpenOffice to the tools because OpenOffice is still useful. Yep, yeah, it should be the same, sure. Always the issue of exactly what we call Ubuntu then, but yeah.
Yeah. In some other projects I've seen that when it's really clear what it is made of, people will not seek that much to do the manual, like start from zero and add the pieces. They will just go for the final.
Yes.
What's the glue that puts this together?
Right, I'm guessing with a new installer, lots more school districts are going to install Edubuntu directly from the Edubuntu DVD. Because currently it's a bit boring for them, because if they need to install something, they're going to have to take our DVD, install everything, and start removing stuff.
Right.
For each computer. It's not so great.
So
With the new installer, well, a few changes we are planning, they are going to be able to install everything, or just start the installer, install exactly what they want. And as it's using Ubuntu, they can proceed that.
and can you do that after installation?
Also.
Can you just say, okay, I wanted to install everything just to take a look, or I changed my mind, this is not working?
Well, then you go in the software center, choose education, and select all the data packages. It's going to be so.
Is it worth it just making a meta package that would make that very easy?
Yeah, Ubuntu desktop usually does that.
So, and that's a clean,
Yeah, Ubuntu desktop
trimming up.
recommends every other data packages which recommends every software.
okay, so,
You're talking
So
about a
maybe-
clean way to remove stuff though after
yeah,
install?
maybe they just don't know that it's that easy to trim all things cleanly.
Yeah,
So that they
Well, the
wouldn't
new
be-
installer is going to let them choose an install time to put on.
Yeah, I know, but once you're past the installer, it's kind of like the encryption or RAID stuff.
Mhm.
If you change your mind, or if you want to do something different after that, you really have to know that the disk utility lets you do that. Otherwise, in your mind, your only and last chance to make that decision is the installer.
We'll probably need to make sure that it's easy enough to find in a software center. But it's supposed to. I mean, we don't use our depend, so if you remove any of the educational packages, it's not going to
All right,
remove
so-
everything else.
So it's not a technical problem.
Yeah, technical is fine. It's just a matter of having the user actually use the software center.
And knowing about it. So what I'm thinking is, at the community page, that's something that should stand out. First time user, come here. What is this made of? What are you going to go through if you install? Can you make changes to your choices? And how does this relate to the standard Ubuntu experience? And then it's the risk is very low for someone to consider just doing it the Ubuntu way and becoming part of the community, which is what we want. Removing that risk, I think, would help a lot.
Right. Okay.
Would it be worth in that as well, highlighting some of the applications in there for
Yeah.
as to a teaching subject, like math,
Oh,
history,
okay.
you know, what's in there, what can you use? Languages.
That's great, because most teachers will identify themselves either by, I don't know, I mean, in Canada, it's grades or areas.
Yes, they identify themselves as what they teach to what
Yeah.
grade, and how would this sort of help them? What's in it?
Yeah, that's something we've been discussing quite a bit. I guess at some point we wanted to make something on a website for that, because making it, the actual packaging structure doesn't exactly introduce something like that. So the easiest way is to have something on the website saying, hey, I'm black in this area, I'm teaching for these groups, and I mostly teach this, like math or whatever. And then get a list of potential interesting software.
It may not have to be a comprehensive list, just something to capture the imagination, capture the attention,
Right.
and say, this is what we've got.
Yeah.
You know, to suck them and draw them in.
And so that's something we probably would need to work on website, see how we can actually make something out of it. Because what we wanted is to have feedback from teachers in most countries, most areas, on exactly what tool they need, depending on local law or educational rules or whatever, for each region. So we can then use the tool we developed called the Ubuntu menu editor to have pre-made menus depending on the area that you can learn from the website.
That
So
would be
even if
hard
you
to
have-
maintain. That would be hard to maintain though, because
You
that
would
kind
need
of
to
thing
get,
changes often.
Yeah, well, yeah. The idea is that it will probably be like wiki-like or whatever. So technically, our users are modifying it, and menus get automatically generated from that. So we don't really have to maintain it as long as someone keeps
That's
the information
customization.
updated on the website,
Are you
it's going
gonna
to provide.
put that in as like bug fixes in the repository so they
No,
can
it's
update
not,
it?
it's not going to be in the repository. The way it works for the Edubuntu menu editor is that you can download the tar.gz file and load it. So
Okay,
we will have that pre-generated on our website.
okay,
So that way we don't need to push new updates every 2 weeks.
okay.
That was the idea initially when we developed the Ubuntu menu editor. We started discussing with the folks in Spain, but didn't really get anything useful out of it initially. So if we can get that kind of feedback from our users and be able to store that information and use it for both recommendations of software they can use and for the menu, would be quite nice.
So one thing, I'm not sure if that's projecting too far in the future, but one thing that would be interesting, we were talking about teachers that identify themselves in, grades and areas. Maybe welcoming them by roles, like, do you want to use Edubuntu? Do you want to present it to your school or customize it or things like that? Would be interesting. Because then we can tell them, your role as an Edubuntu advocate in your school could be identifying the applications that you already have, looking at what we have and what would you like to, your Edubuntu experience to be like. I know that, so my wife is a first grade teacher, and about 2 or 3 years ago, they were presented with this huge list of Windows free software. And they actually got to choose what was available for their school or, how to, that was like a shopping list. And I'm pretty sure if I would go there and show them Ubuntu, they would want to find equivalencies to that and how can they keep doing what they were doing before or new things per areas. So if I'm a history teacher and it's the first time that I come into the site and there's no other history information, I should be able to go in very quickly to submit that information. That means wiki and other very involved stuff, but before that, just the Ask Ubuntu stuff could be low barrier enough that people would ask questions, and just the fact that they ask the questions populates the information.
I think for the vast majority of teachers, it has to be very,
Yeah.
they
Or if it can only be so easy. At some point, they need to register somewhere and do something, but the reward needs to be very big for them for the first ones to do that. So,
of course,
so Belinda, I'm talking about things that already exist and that don't even exist in Windows sometimes. For example, Tux Paint. My wife was absolutely flabbergasted when she saw Tux Paint in the Windows list, because she said, I know it's in Ubuntu. What else is in Ubuntu that we can do? She didn't care at that point that much about the Windows apps, because she knows there is so many apps. Any IT department will stop at some point. You can't provide 200 different Windows applications and expect the machine to keep running. In Ubuntu, we can do that. Maybe we don't have 200, but the machine is not going to break if you install that much. Right, so I think it's Jonathan. So I have that list as an example, but right. Free Mind. Yeah, champion software, things that we have that are not free in Ubuntu world. You'd be surprised how many teachers are just in love with OpenOffice because it creates PDFs. And that's such very low-hanging fruit to get them interested. But I guess Stefan knows a lot more about this and how to get them interested. But what I'm interested in personally is just opening the channels to link those dots, community-wise.
Yeah.
I happen to have a teacher with me every day in my house, but that's a great resource. But the Canadian education system, I'm thinking should be the base reference for that. But I know many of them are already online, very high-tech oriented, not necessarily developer-wise, but web-wise.
Yeah.
So they
No,
know how
we-
to tweet about these things, and they can get people interested.
We have wiki pages being generated for each of the games, and they've got sections for user stories so that people can say, I use this in my class, it's great, blah, blah, blah. So if we can get them editing that and adding to that.
So you see, even before that, I would try to get some teachers to just post that on their Facebook pages, for example.
Now that they've got the Twitter and identity stuff, if we can promote the use of that hashtag.
Yeah.
Because once one teacher says, I just tried Edubuntu on their Twitter feed, then you've got 20 other teachers that just heard about Edubuntu being used.
Yeah, that's clearly a good way to advertise the project in the fastest and easiest way of doing so. As far as like user feedback and stuff is concerned, guess if we can get something cleanly integrated in the software center, and that we can also get somehow from the internet, it will be really nice.
Can we access the software center ratings?
I don't know. I would guess so. That would need to talk to my brother.
You mean to
But-
put them on the website?
Yeah,
Put them in those.
Actually, I would, because I really don't like to maintain web pages because they get outdated and everything.
Yeah.
Idea would just have something that go and grabs the list of packages and stuff straight from the distro,
Yeah.
gets the list, gets the description, gets the same thing that we have in the software center directly somewhere on the website.
That's
And
what I was doing.
get the rating, get the, I don't know if they have comments yet on software center, but I would guess it's going to come eventually.
Is that going to be at packages.ubuntu.com? Does
No, I
that?
don't think so.
No.
The wiki pages I was just talking about pull all their data from the packages. So I take the seed files and I go and I look up that package information for each thing in the seed file and just generate a simple wiki template for it.
Okay, actually nobody actually updated the document. So, so we said getting operating and social. And that can be as simple as just putting links next to the application on the website directly. Saying, okay, click here to put that on Twitter.
But also, I mean, do we have tags per application?
No. You know the hashtags you mean?
Yeah, I mean, we know that people are not going to start tweeting or denting our application tomorrow, but just exposing that is another channel.
We would probably want to make sure that we use whatever the applications themselves have been using. So for instance, I'm sure Keep Increase got a hashtag that they use.
Probably
So
the most popular apps
Yeah,
have that already, right?
yeah, so we want to find out what they use.
Yeah, upstreams. Another interesting thing that I'm not sure. So one of the problems that I had to solve with my wife this year was that she has a netbook. She works at home, works at the school computer, works at the teacher's lounge, and all the files that she needs access to at the school, they have an internal network, but that's trapped in there, and she needed a way to exchange files. Do we want to expose Ubuntu one in this? Is that something that could interest the teachers? Or making Ubuntu their workstation?
Possibly.
That's a very common problem.
Yeah.
There might be concern about putting like student information up on canonical servers. There may be some security concerns revolving around that.
Well, right now they're using USB keys and other.
I'm not saying it's going to be worse than what they have now. I'm saying
Yeah.
the perception is going to be, I'm
Or-
putting the student contact information.
Do we want to just ask them, like, this is part of Ubuntu already, so can we take input from them to?
I guess we already mentioned it in the slideshow, but yeah, Jonathan's going to tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not all wrong on that one. Is just let people know that it exists, and that if they want to quickly transfer a file and don't have a USB stick, or their domain policy at school prohibits using USB, maybe they can use it.
Yeah.
But not make it like, we don't necessarily want to push it other than that.
I'm not talking about pushing it, but, how would you use it as a teacher safely or whatever you want to present it as? Or we just want to wait the teachers to find out and do it themselves, or?
I think we can present it to them. We can maybe get answers to some of the questions that we can see kind of, is it secure? Is it going to expose whatever I put up there? Is anybody going to be able to read that?
I'm just going to add it to the documentation section saying that,
Because you're right, it would be a very useful tool for them to use if they felt comfortable using it. So if we can put up some documentation that would make them feel more comfortable using it, that would go a long way.
That's also a policy issue as well.
Yeah, you need to ask your school.
Yeah.
Well, your school or district is some districts say, no, you're not doing that. You're not putting files out there. It's got to be kept.
Now, Tomboy note sharing may also be something they find useful. I know I find that unbelievably useful. How that
I have a
syncs.
lot of customers using that in schools.
Yeah, but getting that to sync with Ubuntu 1 too across different computers.
Yeah, they are using
is
it for
really-
Ubuntu one, yeah. Very good.
So I guess a whole page on how you can use Ubuntu 1 as a teacher.
Yep, and I guess just putting it in the documentation, and something that I would like, but I'm really not sure I'm going to have any time to look at or whatever, is to provide links to our documentation, website and stuff as bookmarks directly to our browsers.
The
If you
official
can't do
docs?
that,
The official docs?
the official, Ubuntu docs, which is basically the documentation section on our website.
But isn't it just rebranded, or I haven't looked at it
No,
for some time now.
currently what we have, if you go in documentation, we actually have some installation documentation and stuff that are directly on our website.
And how many levels of that are Ubuntu specific?
Usually they are completely Ubuntu specific. If they are not, it should point to F.
So what you're saying is we should link
Yeah.
to the official docs?
We should at least have in Firefox or whatever a link to Ubuntu.org, to our documentation page on Ubuntu.org,
Right.
to some stuff that are actually meant for teachers using Ubuntu.
So
This will be on our website and still keep the links to the official Ubuntu documentation for the rest.
one thing that I find is interesting when you present these is to really make sure that people understand these are separate sets of docs in other projects. But do we really want to make that separation here? For example, if I look at this page, the installation guide,
Yeah.
if there's mentions to the official documentation, I would expect that to be in a footer, pretty much, delimited like other links or further information.
Right.
Or do we just want to integrate that and not worry too much that it's different projects?
Yeah, those people even point to Ubuntu at any point in the.
Because then you start, these are building blocks. And if you don't want to maintain what I see right here, right now.
Well, we want to maintain this.
Right, but.
And the one that we want to maintain and that we actually, in our case, have resource and time allocated to maintain are at Ubuntu.org.
I'm sorry, rephrasing, you don't want to maintain as much as help the Ubuntu.
Right.
Right? So what about making sure that these are building blocks that we can reuse interchangeably, you know, like the installation guide would may be a piece of how would teachers use Edubuntu, but then that's a blog that goes into a very specific reference section.
So real quick before we run out of time, I just wanted to bring up another demographic of parents.
Right.
Right now we're doing a lot to try and get teachers involved, but getting parents using it and talking about it word of mouth between one mom and another.
Right.
That's almost entirely the way Kimo is spread.
Yeah, that's also a good part of our current user base against this one so it's not exactly clear how we can. The easiest way of actually having parents start using it is to have schools starting to use it. That's the easiest way from our point of view. Now, it's probably not the fastest. So probably, and I don't know, for Kimo, did you find like any magic way of getting parents? Or?
Mostly just being able to run it from the live CD was a big selling point.
Yeah.
So letting parents know that they can run this on the family computer that's got all their finances on it, and the kid can't break anything or delete any files,
Right.
is a big selling point.
Yeah, well, maybe you can make that a bit clearer on the website as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Currently we have WebLab, which is quite the magic thing. Because, well, you really can't break anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alongside the live CD, as you said, what about the security, push the security features, viruses, all sort of against the existing alternatives. This is why you should think of this, because that would go for a parent, secure browsing.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard from a lot of parents that never install Kimo. They just keep a CD around, and when the kid wants to play, they boot up the computer to the CD. So I think advertising the live session that Edubuntu offers more would help on that end. And I'd be happy to write a page or two on that.
There's a comment, common stuff you do in Windows guidance also needs visibility.
A live session should be something they get when they go back to school in September, in their welcome back.
That would be nice. Now, one of the things we did in the first version of Kimo, that broke in the second one, but the live session user didn't have sudo access, so you couldn't even run the install from the live session user.
Okay.
That's something that I'm going to try and get back working with the next version of Kimo. Is that something that you think the Edubuntu? Now I know you do a lot more in your live session that probably requires root access, like running the servers to try them out.
Right. But it might be more interesting, I think, having another option in GFX boot. So just have try it live in install and install only or something. And just find a better wording than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, have a separate option that makes it really clear that you won't be able to install from there.
Okay.
We can do some pretty weird ads in Casper, like removing ubiquity completely.
Yeah.
That should do the trick to make sure they don't get installed.
Well, they would still be able to, even without ubiquity, they should mount the hard drive and start deleting files.
Yeah, we're going to probably do some weird ads to that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. We pretty still want. Well, we can't just remove sudo rights in that case. Not sure what's going to break if we do so.
Jonathan's asking one last question there.
No, we're discussing just a regular live DVD without any option to install it, then making sure the user can't break anything. Or
Basically,
online.
Make a live session where the user can't break anything on the current install on the hard drive. I was just using Kimo as an example.
Thanks, everyone.